let's just do this. We just have to rip this off like
There's
a Band-Aid.
no way to do it.
We just have to fucking do this. I'm Griffin.
There's no way in. I'm David Sims.
That's the first way in, is we just say our names, okay? Let's just take this one step at a time. I'm Griffin Newman, you're David Sims.
Yeah.
This is Griffin and David present
Revenge of the Podcast.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
Okay?
Talking about Revenge of the Sith.
That's what this is.
The epic conclusion to the tragedy that began with the Phantom Menace. Tragedy in every sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we're fucking tackling today. You know, we were trying to see how thin we can slice the bologna so we have enough stuff to cover over 10 episodes.
I like thick bologna myself.
You're talking about in a sandwich.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Metaphorical bologna,
I know.
David. Your taste aside.
This movie's bologna.
This movie is it's a bunch of bologna. We were going to have a guest today. He got sick. Often we will present to the guest a couple options of like, oh, here are episodes.
Oh, sure. What do you want to talk about? Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But since they canceled today, we just went, let's just fucking tackle the big thing. Because there's an unavoidable thing in this movie that is essentially the main crux of the film.
Totally.
If not the entirety of the movie.
Right, and reveals the main crux of the entire series.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It totally recolors the last two movies in a way that is, I'm having a very hard time comprehending.
I guess so. Yeah.
You could argue this entire movie is a twist.
Sure. It's not, yeah. When you watch Phantom and Attack of the Clones, you could predict this. You could.
I mean, hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, hindsight's 2020,
but before we get into this, a little housekeeping.
Oh, okay. Housekeeping.
Just want to quickly remind everyone to please continue subscribing, rating, reviewing on iTunes. Helps us.
Yeah.
Helps UCB comedy in general. Producer Ben Hosley, a.k.a. Producer Ben, a.k.a. the Ben Deucer, a.k.a. Hello Fennel, a.k.a. Mr. Positive, a.k.a. the Haas. Sitting to my right.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, Ben.
Yes, fans. Come on, guys.
Rate and review.
We have a
So
responsibility.
easy.
Ben has done us
easy.
a mitzvah by allowing us to do this podcast, and we need to help line the coffers.
That's right.
Metaphorically, there's no money to be made, but we're lining the metaphorical.
There's no money to be made?
No, I mean, what you thought?
Hit stop. I'm out of here.
You thought the checks were just 8 months late? What? Do you
Oh,
mean?
that was just a classic Sims bit.
One of my patented Sims bits.
I want to make it clear: we don't do bits like that on the show. We don't pretend that movies
This show doesn't like
exist.
bits.
No.
We don't pretend that we thought we were getting
This is
paid.
serious talk.
It's a serious show.
I mean, I'm thinking about changing the genre from comedy to just like TV and movies. Because like this is a culture show.
At very least, dramedy. I think that there's a dramedy section.
We're the Nurse Jackie of podcasting.
We are. This
that
fucking
was
movie is a
than
tragedy.
The reaction it got in this room. That was
It's
really
funny.
funny.
That's really funny. Yeah.
All right. Tragedy of Revenge of the Sith.
Please, but this is the point I want to make, and it'll tie into everything. Please rate, review, subscribe, unless your review is going to be negative, or you're going to give us low stars, in which I'm going to restate because maybe you skipped over episode 1 of Revenge of the Podcast. You're jumping in today because you don't like hearing about the beginning of movies.
Hey, how about this? You don't want to review the podcast? Review the movie, and just put that up.
Just put that up.
Who cares?
But
But you better give us 5 stars.
if
Yeah.
you give us a bad review or anything less than 5 stars, you are a Sith Lord. And I want to state this very clearly before we get into the meat of this episode, because if you are
That
a
is
Sith
a bad
Lord,
thing to be.
if you are a Sith Lord, stop listening now. I threw down the gauntlet last week. You are not allowed to listen to this podcast.
All right, Griffin.
If you are a Sith
Let's
Lord.
move on.
Are all Sith Lords out?
Let's move on.
No bits.
No
okay?
bits.
No
I'm serious. I don't want fucking Sith Lords listening to this episode.
Griffin, let's get to
This
the
is a
movie.
serious episode.
All right. No more yelling about Sith Lords.
Anakin turns out to be a Sith Lord.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Or a Sith apprentice. Potential Sith Lord.
Yeah, I mean, this...
Guess who else turns out to be a Sith Lord? This blew my mind.
Palpatine.
Supreme Chancellor Palpatine of the Galactic Republic.
Yeah.
He was a Sith Lord.
Yeah, that missed
He had a lightsaber in his pocket the whole
whole
time.
This whole time, he had a lightsaber
In his arm sleeve.
Makes me think that the Senate building should have had a metal detector at least. Or...
He was good at fighting too.
Chancellor Palpatine,
yeah,
who
of course he's good at
routinely
fighting.
met.
He's flubber.
yeah, he's a real flubber.
Like
fan.
everyone else in
real.
this fucking movie is flubber.
He's a flubber fighter and a flubber face.
Yes.
He's got a flubber face in this movie.
Palpatine's a different episode. Let's fucking focus on Anakin.
Well,
okay?
they're all very linked, though, because, I mean, me and you were talking beforehand, just so, briefly.
Yeah.
Episode 1, all kinds of plots.
Ensemble
all kinds
cast.
of weird plots. Ensemble cast, all centered around this planetary
You're
war.
showing us a galaxy.
Boop, boop, boop-a-doop.
Yeah.
Episode 2, like we say, classic mystery / love story, kind of a noir movie.
Yeah.
One branch solving the mystery, one branch falling in love, meet back up,
the
epic
third
gladiator
act.
battle,
Right.
Clone War.
Yeah.
Episode 3, not really any plot. Right to it.
Yeah. Episode 3 is...
You got 20 minutes of war, and then you got then just like a button at the end. This long,
yes.
dark button.
I'm glad that we had pre-established the tradition of making our first episode at the beginning of the movie, because the first 20 minutes of this movie are totally different than anything else that happens in the rest
It's
of the film.
almost like a mini movie.
Yes, it is.
I mean, like essentially, especially because it's setting up a little more Anakin stuff. Oh, he chopped off that guy's head.
Yeah.
What's up with Anakin?
No, I don't want to harp on this. Because
Better not be about Sith Lords.
no, although I mean, who cares if I say something bad about Sith Lords, because they're not listening at this point.
What do you not want to harp on?
First 20 minutes has some laugh.
Yeah, sure, definitely. I mean, Sith Lords are our speciality.
Yeah,
And
I hate it when they do that. He says that I have a bad feeling about this when the wall's coming down.
there's some elevator hijinks, up, down.
Solid banter.
There's some banter.
Grievous is kind of comical with the coughing and everything. Coughing's funny.
I mean, you're all right, and you're pushing it, but okay. It's definitely more lighthearted, considering it's the set at the centerpiece is a huge galactic war.
I'm saying Phantom Menace has
A lot of comedy.
Huge laughs.
A lot of laughs.
Because you got Jar Jar wall to wall, right? Episode 2 is more serious, but like Anakin and Padme are fucking joking around with each other, diffusing sexual tension.
But you're right. Episode 2 is way less laugh heavy.
Yeah, but like we got like Dexter Jetzer's a fun fucking
That's
scene.
true,
Elon
that's
Slays Bagano's a fun scene. There's fun stuff.
I refuse to lionize episode 2 just because we watched episode 3. Because I'll do it with Phantom, but I won't do it with Attack of the
We said
Clones.
we recorded right before we recorded. The definitive ranking of these three films is 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
No
it's not a question. But that doesn't mean Attack of the Clones deserves any
I don't
credit.
know. I think I kind of love Attack of the Clones now.
It's bad.
We were saying I have never wanted to watch Phantom Menace more than I did rewatching Revenge of the Sith last night.
Totally.
Because now I realize, I guess Phantom Menace is a great movie.
Anyway,
I
back
guess
to
it's a
Revenge of the
masterpiece
Sith.
because
No,
we
it's not.
didn't appreciate it when we had it.
I loved it. It was
No.
so good.
Ben's really mad at us.
it's-
No,
Had
it's
to
great.
watch
Like,
Revenge of the
with
Sith.
boy bands, like I like this movie like I like the bad boy in the boy band.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep. You love to hate it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Phantom Menace is like the Brian Luttrell. It's like you actually love it. It's like the sweetie pie.
Mm-hmm.
Where was I going with this?
You didn't want to harp on something.
This movie, past the first 22 minutes, is so devoid of humor.
Yes, it is. That is true. I can't think of a single joke.
No, not a single joke, and not a single funny character. We got no funny characters. Just give me a break with a funny character. We've pre-established in the last 2 miniseries my holy trinity of characters. I couldn't give you 3 characters
there's
I
no
like in this
one.
movie.
I was gonna say, do you have any favorite side
No,
characters?
who fucking... Everyone sucks in this movie.
What about the lizard, the iguana that Obi-Wan rides around?
Yeah, the dactyl. Yeah, I mean... I'm reticent. Yes, that is my favorite part of the movie, and we'll devote an entire
Wait,
episode
that's
to
your
that.
favorite part of the movie? It's
Yes, it is.
so bad.
Yes, it is. I
Oh my
almost texted
God.
you when I was rewatching it. For the 15,
You should have. Why
for the
didn't
15 minutes where, because I didn't want to say something I'd regret later. For the 15 minutes where Obi-Wan's riding the dactyl, I almost texted you and went, David, what are you talking about? This movie is great.
Oh God, I hate that sequence mostly because it looks really bad.
Here's what I like about the dactyl sequence.
It's a giant iguana.
It's goofy.
It is more goofy
It's
than
so
the rest.
silly. I want this movie to be silly. I don't want it to be a fucking...
What about? All right. Well, you know what?
Okay.
I mean, I will say, yeah. I mean, when Anakin ignited that lightsaber in the Jedi Council in front of those younglings.
Okay, so let's just quickly, right? Okay, episode 1 introduces us to a small slave boy.
Mm-hmm.
He is very chipper.
Good with engineering. Good
Yeah.
with McKeans.
McKeans and Rubbits.
And Robin.
He's all about McKeans and Rubbits.
Yep.
Okay? And he's very chipper, and everyone goes, ooh, you're angry.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's like, watch out.
Yeah. And he's like, what?
They.
And they're like, what a fucking little brat, right? They're
Yeah.
they're playing both hands. They're
Mhm.
simultaneously going, ooh, this kid's bad news, and also going,
Too
by the
old.
way, all the pressure on the world, you might be the chosen one.
And we tested your blood, and it says you are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So they go, conflict of interest. All signs point to you being the chosen one, but we don't like you.
Yeah. And also say goodbye to your mother.
Okay. But he acts like a little boy. Whether or not Jake Lloyd's performance is naturalistic enough to recall how a boy behaves in real life. Within the realm of this movie, he is recognizable
chipper,
as how
like
how a boy would act at that age, right? Episode 2, Anakin's a bummer. But the way in which he's a bummer, and once again, it's a bad performance, but within the parameters of what the film establishes, this is how a fucking teenager acts. It's sullen, it acts out.
He's headstrong, he's moody.
Yeah.
He doesn't listen to
super
authority.
hormonal.
Very hormonal.
Yeah.
He's very upset about his mother getting raped and murdered by Tusken Raiders.
As we all are as teenagers.
It's just a classic. It's a tale as old as time.
This
Your mother gets kidnapped by sand people.
Yeah.
It's just, it's
this
old
is what
school.
happens. I hate talking about these movies. My point is, the first 2 films, Anakin behaves in ways that are generally recognizable as how people would act at those ages.
Yeah, sure.
Okay? There's a clear characterization of just Anakin is growing up. He is the chosen one. The brief dalliance with murder that he has, where he kills all the sand people, is such a clear act of revenge.
Yeah, it is. It's...
No, what were you going to say?
Well, it's obviously, now that we've seen episode 3, planted there to suggest some sort of inner rage. But I would say it is done so ham-fistedly.
Yes. I think, like, you can look at Attack of the Clones and be like, okay, in the classic hero's journey, this is almost like the refusal of the call.
Right.
You know, this is like the crisis of faith moment.
He can't maintain his sort of stability that is demanded of him.
Right.
And nor when we sympathize with that.
And in a way, you know, our failures make us better people,
right.
You know?
It could be his bottom.
Right. For him to rise up from.
Yeah.
You know? Like a Lazarus pit.
Sure. And at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith,
yeah,
there's some indication like, hey, he's matured into a bit more of a cool-headed Jedi.
Yeah.
You know, he's hitting that center eye on the buzz droids. I don't know what he's doing. He's
getting 500 points per buzz droid.
He seems and he chops off Dooku's head, sure, but he regrets it.
Yeah,
he thinks it's a bad idea
immediately.
Pretty much immediately. Oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Oh no, that was a bad idea. But Anakin and Obi-Wan are like joking. They're at an even level. Yeah. It's not like, oh, Anakin, how dare you? It's like, you sure killed those buzz droids.
And he doesn't
buzz
seem
off,
out of control.
No, he doesn't. He seems, in fact,
more in control.
In control.
Yeah.
Hayden Christensen's performance is, I would argue, so laconic in this movie that he, by emoting so little, seems to be the most controlled human being in the world.
Sure. Especially opposite Ewan McGregor, who has, fallen into the river of ham.
He's bathing in the river.
No, he fell in head first, and he can't get out.
I sent you that quote I love, right?
Which one? You mean Kenneth Branagh, The River of Ham?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? He said to Ray Stevenson, right?
On the set of Thor.
Yeah.
Ray Stevenson said, I'm worried about dipping my toe into the river of ham. And he went, no, bathe in the river of ham.
Bathe in the river of ham.
I've bathed in that river many times. It's a great river.
Yeah. I love Kenneth Branagh. I want to say this. And I think he gave one of the most underrated, cheesy villain performances of the last 10 years in Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit.
I know you love that performance, but you
it's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
That movie ends with him defusing a small bomb in Battery Park City. It is the lamest movie.
But your defense of that performance, I'm not saying it needs to be defended, but your argument for why that performance is so great, and I'm quoting you almost directly here,
please,
is that we're watching Ken Branagh just serve up slice after slice of fine honey-baked ham. I believe that's what you tweeted.
Virginia ham.
I believe that's what you tweeted.
Yeah,
Did you not?
Is. It probably
slice
is.
After slice of fine honey-baked ham.
That movie is so cataclysmically boring.
Yeah, but he says sweet ham, right?
And then he shows up. He directed the damn movie and obviously just gave himself the good role. And he's swilling wine and going, regret, what do we do? I
mean, I could use more fucking ham in this movie.
There's some.
Yeah, I could use more.
There's a slice of ham with the name Ian McDiarmid on it.
Well, he's a fucking ham sandwich.
And there's a side of ham salad, which is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, but ham salad's the right analogy because it's also the ham is cut with really boring lettuce.
Sure.
It's like ham on top of just water-crisp lettuce.
There's beef Wellington, tough, overcooked beef Wellington, and that is Hayden Christensen.
Oh,
Smiths! More Smiths. We thought Smiths was going to have so much to do this
He's
time
fourth
around.
build in this movie.
It's crazy.
Okay. Back on track. Hayden Christensen. Anakin is so laconic that the guy seems totally in control, right? He has
Even when he chops off someone's head, he seems pretty in control.
Okay, but that definitely seems like the film's starting to tip its hand.
Sure.
Showing that the killing of the Tusken Raiders was not a one-off, right? That if pushed, Anakin can kill very quickly.
And
if
also,
given a reason, if given encouragement, he'll jump to death.
that he's never found the apparent sort of calm, Pope-like centeredness that every other Jedi seems to have. Every other Jedi is told something like, basically like, the Siths are controlling every aspect of society and pulling all the strings, and they react as if they've been told, like, we're out of tuna salad today.
Despite what he says to many people, including his wife, married life seems to have given him no happiness.
No, it's true.
There's the scene where they see each other like for the first time since he got back from the Clone Wars.
At Pillar City?
Yeah.
At this set that we keep returning to that's just 80... It's just an auto-population of pillars.
Rented 2 pillars.
It's just pillar.
Yeah, well, they did copy-paste.
It really looks like someone took SimCity and just was like, drop a pillar every 5
There's
yards.
a lot of copy-pasting in this movie.
A lot. Yeah, they meet by some pillars.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh, Batman, I missed you so much.
How are you doing?
That's
I was at the war.
The last movie was about you fucking fighting to be with this woman.
It's been 3 years
against
or so.
all odds, against all judgments. You're laying low. Like, you've sacrificed so much to be with her. You should fucking be still head over heels in love with her. Or the fact that you're falling out of love should be the point. Instead, it's just like, oh, he's just a boring couple.
And what news does she give him right after the first 22 minutes? She's got some news. She's pregnant.
She's pregnant, but I think this is a different episode. I want to stay on Anakin, okay? Just his emotional journey in this film, okay?
Okay.
Because we gotta
relax. Let's just tell the story.
David, I'm so frustrated with this movie.
You're worried too much.
Do you remember last week when I was hoping that I would like it, watching the whole thing?
Yeah, but that was just stupid.
Yeah, it was dumb.
That was real stupid of you.
Okay. We should also say that you earlier today saw a very depressing, traumatic movie. And I earlier today had to say goodbye to a friend who's moving to LA, and I'm very upset about it.
Oh, who?
My manager.
Aw.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He's not technically my manager. He was my manager's assistant.
Okay.
Yeah. But he's become one of my very good friends. And he's...
Yeah, we're recording this late in the day, and I saw Room is it's a punishing film. It makes you feel like you're trapped in a small, enclosed room from which there is no escape.
And another thing that makes you feel like you're trapped in a small room with no escape is having to say goodbye to Nick Damiano.
Bye, Nick.
Bye, Nick.
All right. Please, let's carry on. Finds out Padme's pregnant. They're living in an apartment in Coruscant in secret, I suppose?
No one knows they're together. They have
It makes no sense.
Apartment.
She has this palatial apartment with a great view of downtown Coruscant. I don't know.
Is there not paparazzi too? Like, how are they keeping this a secret? She's like in the government.
Whole planet's a city.
Pretty
sure that's always going to be the answer. Whole planet's a city. A lot of alleys to duck
big
down.
Old city. I mean, it's the whole planet. So
there is a actor who I'm working with right now.
Who?
I don't want to say it because the whole point of the story is the desire for anonymity. I'm not saying anything embarrassing, but you'll see when I explain.
But you're going to tell me
tell the
mic.
anecdote. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, you could figure it out too.
Yeah.
But
I could always cut it out.
No, you're not cutting it out. I'm trying to make a point here.
Ben never cuts anything out.
Okay. Ben, cut out this part.
All right.
No, go on.
No, Ben, cut out the part about you not cutting stuff out.
All right, fine.
Because that makes the podcast sound sloppy.
You're right. No bits.
Okay, so cut starting from when David said Ben will cut this out to right now.
Now.
Okay. There's an actor I'm working with right now. Oh, wait, but you're going to have to cut out either that line or the first time I said there's an actor I'm working with.
Griffin,
right
I hate
because it'll sound like redundant. Okay.
You're an actor you're working with.
He was talking about on set earlier this week how he bought a new place.
Cool.
With his
many millions.
His paramour.
Oh.
And did it under his own name rather than creating an LLC to buy the place.
Sure.
And because of that, I guess real estate listings are public. If things are bought and sold, they just are publicly released in the paper and stuff.
Like, check out, like, X celebrities listed their apartment.
Well, that's the point. He just bought something, and then it was just listed on like the big New York Times list of like apartment sales
big
in
sales.
New York City.
Sure.
And then a bunch of outlets picked up his name on this list of non-famous buying stuff.
Right.
And then it was like a fucking People magazine thing, and then people were like investigating their place and all this stuff.
People like to know these things.
The point is, it was that easy for like 47,000 outlets. And he's like, now I can't help but be hounded by fucking stuff about the place I'm moving into. Everyone fucking knew, and now everyone knows everything about his life. You tell me fucking Anakin and Padme have like a beautiful... They're married?
Yeah.
They have like a beautiful, like it looks like a penthouse.
It's huge. It's got this crazy balcony.
It's the craziest balcony I've ever seen.
it's 50% balcony, this apartment.
Not to mention, lady's pregnant.
She's pregnant.
And becoming more and more visible by the day.
Yeah.
Anakin and her spend a ton of time together.
They do.
So like probably at the end of like Jedi Council meetings, they're like, hey, Anakin, do you want to ride? I'm going back to
No. See, this
our
is
Jedi chambers. He's like, no.
This is where we already don't know the answers. Where do the Jedis live? Do they live in the temple? Do they have like little apartments there?
Yeah, they probably do.
These questions are never answered.
No,
we never
but
see this.
that's my assumption.
So my assumption is Anakin's got his Jedi temple apartment.
Yeah.
Padme bought that place by herself.
Right. And he goes over there every night and no one's ever noticed?
Well.
It's a juicy story. Come on. I mean, they've got newspapers, right? They've got to have... I guess do they have TVs? I don't know.
I thought for much of this movie that everyone was just choosing to turn a blind eye to it. And then there was a moment late in the film in which Obi-Wan visits Padme to warn her of the turn that Anakin has taken. And he goes,
true?
Anakin's the father, isn't he?
Yeah.
And it's like a sudden realization.
Do you think, because I was trying to wonder if that is a realization or if he's just kind of like trying to confirm what he maybe already knows. Like, Anakin's the father, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's still a question, David.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
As opposed to like...
Then he's like, I'm so sorry.
I spend all my time with Anakin.
Yeah.
I've known you forever.
He's literally my like work best friend.
Yeah.
He's my work husband.
Yeah.
Work wife.
Yeah, exactly. I met you the same time that he met her, all this.
I know. It's all very silly.
Okay? But think about Padme, who is so beloved as a queen.
Okay.
Then becomes a senator. People fucking love her even more. There's an assassination attempt on her.
Yeah, she's the leader of the anti-war effort.
She's a huge fucking figure.
So you're saying, like, why isn't anyone asking any questions about her?
She's
her
pregnant? No one's even asking?
Maybe a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, society was a little more evolved and we didn't get into people's personal lives, you know?
I'm not saying we gotta fucking, show the spinning newspaper headlines of the Jedi gossip rags. I'm just saying, don't you think there should at least be a scene where Yoda's like, pregnant Padme is? The father there must be.
No, because then that would show you that the Jedi have the powers of deductive reasoning, which this entire film and this entire series shows you they do not.
I can't believe it took them 10 years to figure out Palpatine.
How many years did they hang out with Palpatine?
10 years, right?
Have meetings with him?
No, I tried to calculate this, because what? It's
10 years. It's more, isn't it? Because isn't there 9 years between Phantom and Attack, or is it 7?
No, I think it's 7.
Okay, so yeah, it's about 10 years
3
total.
years of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
From the time this movie started, yeah.
I mean, I get that Palpatine's a Sith Lord, and we'll get into this in future episodes, but how did the Jedis not even have an inkling, especially as they're like, wow, a Sith Lord's really up to something. Also, the leader of the galaxy is like consolidating power and creating clone armies out of nowhere.
See, I kept on while watching this movie.
If these things are connected.
I kept on while watching this movie, giving it the benefit of the doubt and going like, okay, this realization just must have happened off screen. Wow. And then there'll be a scene like 20 minutes before the film ends in which Yoda reveals for the first time that Palpatine is Darth Sidious. Yeah. And everyone's like, oh no. And it's like, I thought...
All right, so back to Anakin.
Okay, so Anakin.
There's just, it's so easy to get frustrated with this film.
These are ostensibly kids' movies, right?
I mean, I guess so, but this one's it's a PG-13 movie. Yeah. It's a little more violent.
But these are...
It's a little sadder.
It's ostensibly...
Yeah, family films.
Right.
Family films.
They introduced us to a little boy in the first movie.
Yeah.
The second movie, they show us a teen going through rough years. In the third movie, they go, hey, fuck you for liking this guy. He's the worst.
He's a bad boy.
Watch him murder everybody.
I don't think that's true. I'm going to disagree with you.
What do you think?
I don't think that the movie is angry with us for liking the guy. I think it's just a tragic fall, right? It's like we're watching the tragic fall of everything. It's like the kind of fall of the Roman Empire. We've got the Jedis, we've got the Old Republic, we've got the prophecy of the Chosen One, and it all just crumbles before our eyes.
So is this movie just saying...
It's just a tragedy.
Everything's terrible.
I guess so.
I mean,
there's no, like, there are a couple, but there's not a lot of notes of hope in this film.
No, I could use a little hope.
There's a couple dangling threads, but that's about it.
You know my trademark catchphrase, right?
I don't.
Everything's terrible, everyone's the worst.
Oh, yeah, of course I know that. It's a great catchphrase.
Right. It does feel kind of like that's maybe what Georgie Porgy's trying to get at in this movie. I don't think he's angry at the viewer for liking Anakin in the first two films. And also, to say that the viewer likes Anakin's a bit of a stretch. He is clearly presented as...
He's tough to like in any of these. In the first one, even.
A hobble by performance and writing. But he's positioned as the character we're supposed to like, right?
I guess so.
Dramatically, across these three films, he's positioned as the character whose journey we are watching.
Yeah, he's the protagonist, kind of.
These movies are so
He's really the protagonist of the second film.
Yeah, very much so.
I think in this one, Obi-Wan is the protagonist. If Padme's the protagonist of the first film. You got like a triptych going on.
Yeah.
You know? Because this movie, once there's that big turn about halfway through that we're about to get to.
Yeah.
It kind of gets delivered into the, Obi-Wan becomes our hero. It's a bad hero job. He's got to salvage what he can.
It's just a weird fucking dramatic structure.
Yeah, well, it really does. Yeah.
But
it feels like it's just the ends justify the means, but they don't.
It does, but see, there is this part of it to me that feels like a fucking like Michelle Haneke film. Like it feels like he's trying to make us as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah, these films are just about like entropy. It's just like the inevitability of decay.
Right. And then video game fight sequence, and then just flubber in between.
So,
okay,
I'm just going to briefly take us through Anakin's.
Let's just do it. I'm going to sigh
plot
loudly
in this movie. All right,
okay.
so Anakin returns home with the Clone Wars winding down. Padme is pregnant.
Yeah.
He starts having dreams of her in pain, perhaps dying.
Yep, you're right. Yeah, classic Shmi style.
Yes. The Jedis, finally suspicious of Palpatine, decide to put Anakin, their most volatile Jedi, in charge of watching over him, basically as a double agent.
I gotta pause again, David. I don't even think it's as much that the Jedis don't have deductive reasoning. I just think the Jedis don't fucking pay attention. Because if there's one thing they should have learned by now, it's don't send Anakin alone on a mission.
Don't send him on any missions. It's exactly true.
He's terrible at missions.
But, they antagonize him so many times in this movie.
There's this whole fucking plot development where
Palpatine requests that he be on the Jedi Council as his personal representative.
Right.
They agree to this for some reason, but won't grant him the rank of Jedi Master. Some sort of weird, fuck you, hey, we've still got some power. Because he's too young, I guess.
But that makes almost no sense.
It makes no sense at all,
Even
because they want him to be a double agent.
Space world logic. It makes no sense.
At the same time, they are saying to Anakin, keep an eye on Palpatine. He's real suspicious. We don't know what he's up to. Anyway, we're not granting you any titles, and you better watch yourself.
It's like allowing someone a vote in the House of Representatives, but not giving them any office.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the same time asking them to conduct a secret envoy to the Soviet Union.
Right. Okay. So both sides are going we're a little worried about, can you look on the other side and tell us what's going on?
Yeah, Palpatine's asking Anakin to play double agent, or triple agent with the Jedis
Anakin,
as well.
Who from the beginning they always said, this dude can't control his emotions.
Unstable. Too old when he was recruited. Not in control of his emotions.
Let's put him in the middle of a tug of war.
He's having these dreams. He's worried about his wife.
Yeah.
And totally randomly, in an opera house one night.
Maybe my favorite scene in the movie.
Certainly the best scene in the movie, but that is not even a bar.
The
bar is buried in the ground.
Can we just point out two things that are great in the scene?
No, because we can get to that later with Palpatine,
okay.
right? I think so.
I just want to say the opera is cool.
Yeah, opera's very cool.
It's a cool space opera. It's a cool space opera.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Palpatine mentions, the Dark Lords of the Sith kind of know how to bring people back from the dead, or at least one of them did.
Just play, guess. We'll talk about that more in another episode. But he dangles
Armed
this carrot.
with this measly piece of gossip.
Hearsay.
Yeah. Anakin, I guess, deduces that he's a Sith Lord.
Okay, so he doesn't cross-reference this with anybody,
no,
right?
Doesn't talk to anyone else.
We know they have a library.
Yeah.
Well, but in his defense, Jocasta
News
News played fast and loose, deleting files, right?
She's a real pain in the ass.
But he does trust Obi-Wan.
That's true.
And at this point, Palpatine has not tried to instill doubt in him.
Not really.
Yeah. So he just kind of like would trust Obi-Wan at this point. And Palpatine would tell him this thing. Look,
No, I know. Obi-Wan's basically saying, Palpatine's basically saying, like, I know you're a Jedi, but you're worried about your wife. And unfortunately, the dark side's the only part of the Force that can do the kind of shit we're talking about.
Okay, so even if he's conflicted enough and he's still trying to figure out the lay of the land and he doesn't want to rat out Palpatine, I do think he would turn to somebody. A Kenobi, a Yoda, a Windu, a Clune even. A Poof.
He doesn't.
A Mundi.
He doesn't.
A Galia.
But then he does figure out that Palpatine's a Sith Lord. How does he figure it out exactly?
Well, wait. So the point is, I think he would turn to them and just go, "Hey, have you heard anything
He doesn't
about
do this.
anyone being able to prevent death?"
He doesn't do this.
He just goes, "Huh, interesting."
Darth Plagueis, you say. Anyway.
Right.
Still having these dreams.
Then I don't remember why he's there, but there's a scene where he goes to Palpatine's office.
Yep. Yeah, you probably just watched this movie and you're trying to remember exactly how it is he figures out Palpatine is a Sith Lord.
I rewatched. I saw the Jerk last night again for the umpteenth time as well.
Sure.
One of my favorite movies ever. And there is at the end of the Jerk, spoiler alert. You know, the movie's him narrating as a homeless bum his fall from grace.
Okay.
At the end of the movie, he's like, "Well, so that's my story." And then a car pulls up, and they go, "Have any of you ever heard of Nathan Johnson?" And he's like, "I have." And they get out, and it's his family.
Okay.
And they're like, "Nathan, we struck rich. We've been looking for you." And he goes, "How do you know where to find me?" And they go, "We didn't. This was just the first place we looked." Which is one of my favorite jokes ever.
Right, I remember that. That is very funny.
He's on a random street corner. There's no way they would have found him. And they're like, "We literally just got in a car. We pulled over.
Yeah.
We yelled out, 'Does anyone know Nathan Johnson?' And this was the first place."
Uh-huh.
All three Phantom Menace movies operate with this kind of logic.
Yeah, they really do. Things happen without any other option. Like really rapidly.
People just show up at a place either because something great's going to happen or something terrible is going to happen at the very moment that they show up there. And it's often unclear why they went there.
So Anakin, I guess, Palpatine revials that he's a Sith Lord.
We'll rewatch the scene in the fucking Palpatine episode and we'll cover it. We already forget
Anakin
it
goes
it's the
to
least
Mace.
sticky movie in the
Anakin,
world.
finally to his credit, goes to Mace Windu and says, "I think he's a Sith Lord." Mace Windu rolls up with a couple other Jedis. I think 4 total.
Yeah.
To arrest him.
I think a Fisto.
Yeah, Kit Fisto and a couple, real nobodies.
Yeah.
Palpatine kills them all except for Windu.
Yeah.
But Windu almost has Palpatine pinned, and then Anakin intervenes. He arrives later, so it looks like Windu's kind of, going to kill Palpatine without arresting him, without a trial.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about the Palpatine stuff too much.
No, but this is Anakin shit.
I know.
Anakin makes the decision
Palpatine,
to cut off Mace Windu's hand.
Let's just say Palpatine just keeps on buttering him, right, over and over again. Not just with the death thing, but saying like, "You don't understand. They're like not telling you the whole story."
Yeah.
You know,
right?
He's like essentially
he's tempting him with power, with sort of vague promises of power.
It's the plot of Limitless. Like he's going like, "You're using 10% of your force."
Right.
Imagine if you could use 100.
Got you.
You know, he's teasing Anakin with the promise of maybe being a Lucy.
At the same time, this scene.
Thank you for laughing at that.
I liked Lucy.
Lucy rules. It's a great movie.
This scene where Windu
is anti-Revenge of the Sith.
This scene where Windu is subduing Palpatine.
Yeah.
And is like, "We have to kill him. He's just too dangerous."
Yeah.
Anakin literally just found out this guy's a Sith Lord, but he decides to side with him on the vague promise. I think he says repeatedly, like, I need him. I need
this power.
I need this power to save my wife.
And like, Windu's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, Windu is like, "Excuse me, I'm very busy dealing with a guy who's shooting lightning at me."
A, what power are you talking of? B, what threat is your wife under? C, you have a wife? What is anything you're talking about?
D, where'd my hand go? E, what's all this lightning frying me? And F, I'm dead.
This movie's so hard. It's so dense and it's so simple at the same time. But fucking Windu.
We really have to focus on this because it is the only moment. After this, Anakin's evil.
Right. But Windu shows up essentially functioning as a cop.
Yeah.
Let's say this, right?
It's over. We're arresting you.
Right. Which, why haven't the Jedi's been doing this at any other point in the film, you know? Like trade federations, at a standstill.
Look,
they go, diplomatic negotiations, you know? aggressive negotiations.
The Sith are here.
Apparently, they have the authority to just come in and be
Jedi versus Sith. I think that's what their basis is, basically.
Yeah. So they can arrest Sith.
They're
but
like,
only Sith.
you're a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
And he's like, Sith Lord, me? Check out this lightsaber. Stab, stab, stab. He is a Sith Lord.
He's a Sith Lord. And
a real big Sith Lord.
Shoots the laser, lightning powers.
No.
And Windu reflects it from his blade and...
Yeah, scars him or reveals previous scarring.
He turns into Mumbles from Dick Tracy.
He does.
He's got a cottage cheese head now.
We're going to talk about it.
That's
crazy.
a whole other
That's
episode.
to next week or something.
Okay.
We really got to get to Palpatine because he's so crazy. And with this...
Anakin aids and abets in the murder of 3 or 4 of his good friends.
And 20 minutes earlier, he had literally called the cops on this guy.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, yo, thanks for helping me murder those fools. Those cops you called. I dubbed thee Lord Darth Vader.
We got to harp on this other scene a little more, okay?
What scene?
The scene where he wants to call the cops on him. Because, like, he goes to Palpatine's office.
Yeah.
Palpatine sort of starts really tipping his hand to the idea that he's a Sith Lord, being like, do those powers exist? Not for a Jedi, right? In the opera scene. And now in this next scene, he's going, I used to think the powers this and that. He's realizing
and
for
he's
the first
saying,
time,
like, together we could figure this out.
Right.
Yeah.
But he didn't even know up until this point that Palpatine had any powers.
Sure, he's a politician.
He's a powerless senator.
Yeah, he's an old man.
Who then became a chancellor.
Yeah.
Right? Now he's finding out, like, wait, fucker's got a lightsaber? Fucker's got the Force?
A red lightsaber.
Fucker can feel what I'm thinking and feeling?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. And shoot lightning.
Anakin has a really bad reaction to this. He's like, fuck this. I don't like what's going on here. It's a bad scene.
Yeah.
Right? Anakin almost acts the way, like, the good kid acts in an anti-drug PSA.
Yeah.
Where they're like, you want to smoke pot? And he's like, I don't like
I gotta go.
Right. Yeah. But he essentially says that.
I gotta go.
And he's like, I'm calling the cops. And Palpatine's like, chill. Wait. Just chill. Anakin's like, no. I'm calling the cops. He's like, just sit on it for a little bit. Anakin goes to the Jedis, lets them know. They come to arrest him. Anakin's like, no, you know what? Fuck it. I'll let these guys die.
Having arrived midway
Right.
for some reason.
Right.
For reasons that are, I think, explained in the plot. He goes to 7-Eleven.
Now Anakin's the worst person in the world.
Not only that, he is immediately, Palpatine's like, rise Lord Vader. Like, he's like, he has a name in his pocket.
Can we
Darth
say it, though?
Vader.
Can we
Great
say it, though?
name.
Cool fucking name.
Great
We
name.
gotta say this.
Look, I'll say this.
Fucking
all
name.
the Darth names are good.
This
Darth
is the best
Sidious,
one.
Good. Darth Maul, great. Darth Tyrannus, I wish they'd said it out loud more, but pretty cool.
But
Darth Vader.
This guy, I mean, there's a weight to that. Do you know what I'm saying?
The only problem I have with it is literally that he's just like, yeah, you know what, Vader. Like, he just has it ready.
Yeah.
But it's a great name.
It is the best name.
It's a cool name, and he's like, all right, so welcome to the dark side. As your initiation, do please go to the Jedi Temple and slaughter every child in it.
Yeah.
And literally, I'm not joking. Like, that's how quickly that is, right, Ben?
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, so you can go to my dry cleaners and get my Sith robes and
Yeah,
that, you know.
yeah, no.
He doesn't build. He's just like, you know how there are all these adorable children that
Yeah.
we've seen last movie and this movie who run around the Jedi Temple being little
Kill
tykes?
them all.
Please slaughter them.
Now, I think they missed out on a great opportunity for a real funny scene, which is having him chase the kids around, because you don't get to see the murder. Yeah, a little Benny Hill music. Why not?
I'll say,
like the classic doors, hallway scene.
I watched this movie, as I mentioned last week, I watched this movie with my girlfriend, and that scene where he shows up at the Jedi Temple.
Yeah.
And he's like, they're like, a kid's literally just like, what's the matter, Mr. Master Anakin? Like, the cutest
Anakin,
little
we're
dweeb.
scared. Can you help us?
And he just goes like, he like ignites his saber, and
No
you cut.
hesitation.
She just went like, ah! Like,
Yeah.
it was the stupidest, most horrifying, like,
Okay, first of all,
rapid transition.
I'm so close to being on the verge of tears right now, just in frustration over everything.
And laughing at the Benny Hill imagery.
And that was really funny. But no, I don't want to keep harping on this because I like subversive cinema. I'm not asking everything to be put in a box. I'm not saying you have to fucking save
course
the
not.
cat.
Yeah.
And I like, especially within mainstream filmmaking, populist filmmaking, even children's filmmaking, to twist shit.
I don't have no. The problem is that it's
But,
it's
okay,
unearned.
You're like a 6-year-old, right?
Yeah.
And you're fucking watching the Phantom Menace trilogy. Oh, here's a movie about a little boy. I'm 6 years old. I
He
don't
drives
have
a race car.
well-developed critical facility, so I love it. I love this little boy.
Go on.
Second movie. Ooh, love. I don't know what love is yet, so this film seems like an accurate representation of how adults relate to each other emotionally. I'm in. And he's cutting robots. Ooh, this series is fun. You're a kid. This movie's made for kids. These movies are made for kids. And then you watch the third movie, and it's like, ooh, Anakin's getting tempted by the bad guy. So this must be the setup so that at the end he can come back and find his way the good side. Oh, now he's murdering kids who look like me.
Yeah, little white babies.
Oh, so everything in the world is terrible.
I guess so. This is something. This is something I don't care about. I feel like this is more your thing than my thing.
I don't know if I care about it. I'm just like
My
astonished
problem,
by
it's just
it.
unearned. That's my problem with it.
Well, everything in this movie's on it.
Well, that's fair. But like the leap. I mean, the reason this seems to happen in the middle of the movie is that we need to definitively know that Anakin is beyond hope. Right?
Yes.
That he does an act that is so reprehensible.
It's 0 to 100.
It's 0 to 800.
Yeah.
It's 0 to it's so stupid.
Because
then you've got a whole movie left, like a whole hour plus.
Yeah. This is the shortest of the three, though.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's really just that
It's-
little movie, and then you can kind of just wrap it up.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of wrap up.
It's a lot of wrap up. But the wrap up is
It's
just
out of nowhere.
conclusively telling us that this guy sucks and he's beyond saving.
Yes, probably.
Probably. What are you talking? But the movie fucking ends and he's the worst.
No, I disagree with you. I don't think the movie ends and he's the worst. Palpatine's the worst. The movie ends and you're like, wow, this guy got a raw deal.
This guy's been fully
He got
corrupted.
burned to a crisp.
He got burnt to a crisp. Okay.
Anyway, so honestly, there's not much left to Anakin after he kills the kids.
Kills the kids.
He starts just doing Palpatine shit.
Because all the other Jedi.
All the Jedis get wiped out. We'll
by the
get
way,
to that.
Shitty part of the deal, right? Palpatine's like, I want you to prove that you're a bad guy. Kill some Jedi. And he's like, okay, can I kill some of the adult Jedis that I don't know?
Can I kill that guy who's really always gotten on my nerves?
The ones I don't know that well, or the ones I've always had a problem with? The guy who got the last fucking bag of Rolls Golds from the vending machine, whatever. And it's like, no, you have to kill the children.
Yeah.
It's like, what about the adults? He's like, I'll take care of all the adults.
Which he does. And we'll get to that.
You just kill this one room of kids, but you gotta look them in the eye and fucking kill them.
Yeah. On camera, too.
Yeah. Ben?
Now, doesn't he kill the children and then very shortly afterwards meets up with Padme?
Yep.
And basically gives her,
He kind of skirts over it. He's like, some fucked up shit is happening.
The Jedi are trying to take over. Oh, also, I just killed
He doesn't say that part.
a bunch of kids.
No, he's like...
but he does kind of say, he's like, Padme, we can't trust the Jedi. They've gone crazy.
Yeah, no,
like,
that's what he's like, look, Jedi tried to overthrow the government.
Right.
They've gone berserk.
So
There's
they need
no
to
one we
be
can trust.
exterminated?
Yeah, well, because he's kind of like... He's skirting around everything. She's like, I'm hearing the Jedi are getting wiped out. And he's like, yeah, I don't know what's happening. Crazy stuff. Anyway, back to work.
Well, he's definitely playing into the fact that she is part of the government. He's like, Padme, before we start this conversation, I want to establish that you are part of the government. You were for most of your life, as someone who is 29 years old. For 27 of those years, you have been part of the government, right? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, cool. So just before we start this conversation, if I were to say that you are in support of the government, you would say yes, right? And she's like, totally. And he's like, okay, Jedi hates the government, so fuck the Jedi, right? Like, he's kind of manipulating her past.
I guess so,
And
but
her allegiances.
he really steamrolls her, but he also doesn't really win her over. He just kind of checks in with her, gets back on a ship, and then leads some more purges of Jedis,
Which is not,
with clone troopers.
The healthy and adult way to maintain a marriage. That's
Look,
not how you treat your spouse with respect
guys,
and appreciation.
Do not take spousal advice from Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the
No,
Sith. There
no.
really a lot of mistakes made, such as in a little bit of a later scene, but pretty much the next major Anakin scene.
Yeah.
He's sent to this planet called Mustafar.
Yeah, it's a lava planet.
A lava planet. It looks like some sort of mining planet. They mine...
They mine lava.
Yeah, as Joanna said, what do they mine? Lava?
It's the planet where they make lava. It's a lava I'm sure,
I mean, like Super Mario World, they get the lava from there, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he goes there to wipe out the Trade Federation, the rest of the Separatists.
Yeah, yes.
Which he does. Very quickly.
And then he just goes like, oh, I'm just going to hang out here.
He
so if
chills
anyone
out on
wants
Lava
If
Planet.
anyone wants to see me, just come by the lava planet. He sends out a text. He's like, I'm going to be a lava planet for the next 2-3 hours.
Obi-Wan shows
If anyone
up.
wants to come keep me company.
Padme shows up, I should say, in her ship comes out and says, Anakin, couple questions. A, were you responsible for the massacre of several dozen children? Because I'm hearing some bad stories about you.
He's like, let's come back around to that one. What's
He's
question
like,
number 2?
Pass.
Yeah, right.
Let's put a pin in that.
Yeah, question 2.
Question 2, are you evil?
Pass.
Question 3, oh wait, by the way, here's Obi-Wan, and Anakin's like,
Not
Obi-Wan,
a question.
Obi-Wan, you rode in a spaceship with Obi-Wan? Let me choke you to death with my force powers.
I did this all for you. Now let me choke you.
In one way, like, there is so little to talk about with this movie. And another way, we could analyze every single second for 500 years.
It just makes no sense.
The dramatic
Like you
leaps
said,
this movie
You were
makes.
talking about it before, right?
Yeah.
Like the way that it just suddenly like makes a decision.
Yeah.
The way he suddenly is like, Obi-Wan's on the fucking spaceship with you.
Obi-Wan goes and warns. We're doing this out of order. This is our fucking.
Well, we're doing an Anakin
Memento,
episode.
Rashomon. Yeah, and
because
we're also,
Obi-Wan, he says to Padme, like, FYI, I know you saw Anakin earlier, but he did kill a bunch of children. Sorry that his kid is yours.
I speak
your
for
kid is
myself.
his.
I don't speak for you here. My brain's having a hard time fucking wrapping itself around this.
It all happened so fast.
Yeah, but
We're not even getting to the fact that the clone troopers just wipe out the Jedi.
But that's another
in
episode.
An hour.
That's another episode.
It's crazy.
It's a horrible, horrible crime. It's probably the greatest tragedy in the history of that galaxy, right?
it is. Yeah, it's
it's
the worst.
It's a space holocaust.
Yeah, of the most like powerful people in space
And the most noble people.
Yeah.
Like, that's another
doesn't
episode.
matter.
That's another
Yeah,
episode.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
another episode.
Yeah.
I could talk about that for 40
Whatever.
billion years.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan goes to visit Padme, says, hey, because there's this fucking scene. There's the scene,
What?
this is just
What
necessary.
scene?
This is just necessary in order to tell this story properly
scene?
for the
Just
sake of this
say it.
episode.
Just
We're not
say
going to harp on it. But they go to the fucking Jedi Council to change the signal so that the Jedis don't go there. They don't know if any other Jedis are still alive.
Right.
Obi-Wan and Yoda are the last 2 Jedis living right
They
now.
go to the Jedi Council to turn off.
They meet with Jimmy Smits. Jimmy Smits is like, I'm with you. We got to fucking start a outlaw group. Right?
Yeah. Me, you, and Obi-Wan.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, let's just go back to the Jedi Council, lock up shop.
Turn off the lights.
I just want to clean out my locker. Yeah. Turn off the
We're
lights.
not supposed to harp on this. Come on.
And put a note that says, hey, Jedis, don't come back here. Right?
Yeah.
When they're there, they see all the dead
Babies.
children.
Yep.
Obi-Wan's response is like, oh my God, this is terrible. Like that level of emotion.
I know. Yeah.
Oh my God, dead children. This sucks. They're like, who did this? They go through the security camera footage, clean, crisp video
It's great.
of every important scene that has happened so far in the movie. Of Anakin killing the children, of Palpatine dubbing him Lord Vader, of the crawl. They watch a hologram of the crawl. They're like, right, that was
They actually
what was
watched
happening.
the Clone Wars, the Jenny Tartakovsky miniseries. Yeah.
Once again, they're borrowing from Spaceballs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
stealing the idea that you could watch the movie as you're watching it.
There's a merchandise spotlight on the hologram. They
Yeah,
listen,
we're in the movie.
They listen to this podcast on the hologram. They listen to us right now, fucking struggling to talk about this. Okay, but so Obi-Wan knows conclusively, and he goes,
Yeah.
Anakin, how's that possible? As opposed to being like, no,
Right.
or being like, fucking Anakin.
I knew it.
Like the emotional response that anyone would have.
Yeah, I know. But that's the problem with the Jedis. They don't have normal emotional responses to anything.
First rule of improv, as far as I'm concerned, is make strong emotional choices.
I thought it was don't think.
I think the first rule of UCB.
All right,
No.
anyway.
But it's like make strong emotional choices. And it's like there are 4 or 5 different strong emotional ways that Obi-Wan
Guys,
could react to the
this
news.
is an Anakin episode. Come on now. Get back to it.
Obi-Wan goes to Padme, tells her what's up.
Yep.
She's like, I don't think so. Anakin, he's like, is that Anakin's baby? She's like, how do you know?
She's like, wait, what?
What?
Who?
They get in a spaceship together. And he's like, she's like, presumably this happens after. She's like, let me just go out and talk to him. You stay in the ship.
I'll talk to him. And I'm
Right.
sure it's a whole big misunderstanding.
Right. They're talking. He's not being violent, but he's just like, Padme, no, Jedi suck.
And there's
got
like
so much
50
power.
yards between them.
And they're staying really far away.
And she's kind of like, Padme, he's like, you got to just join me. And she's like, no, because you're overthrowing the government. Also, apparently he killed some children. He's like, so you're against me.
She's like, no, Anakin, I love you, which is lunatic talk.
Yep.
I mean, she's speaking like an abused
She should
spouse
literally
right
just
now.
get back in the ship and be like, shoot him with the lasers on the ship.
Right.
Shoot
That
him
is-
to death with the lasers.
That is not the man I love.
Yeah.
To which everyone would respond, we didn't know why you liked him in the first
Yeah,
place. I
and
mean, the
he was
guy
a real pain
always
in the
sucked.
ass.
He's shittier
Obi-Wan.
now.
Obi-Wan. Dangling right there.
That's a whole nother episode. I want to do...
Fat tuba.
I'm going to write my fan fiction about Obi-Wan and Padme together because there's a couple scenes in this movie where it kind of feels like they'd be a good couple. Anyway. They're talking, Obi-Wan comes out. Like, didn't wait for his cue.
I know, Obi-Wan, I will admit, jumps the gun a slight.
Bad timing.
I know, at the worst possible time.
You're
where
dealing with
Anakin's
a powder
like,
keg
wait,
here.
so you're against me? You're not on my side here?
You're with him, not me?
And he shows up and he's like, Anakin, you know, again, watch the security footage.
Yeah.
I've watched George Lucas's Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, they had a Blu-ray copy of it. I know exactly what happened. You're in the wrong.
Yeah.
Anakin, this isn't who you are. And Anakin's like, I had the power. And Obi-Wan's like, fine, okay, this is what's fucking going on? Great. Then I will show no restraint.
Yeah.
Dramatically takes out his lightsaber. And then it's like a fucking boss level video game.
They fight. I mean, we've talked about, he chokes Padme half to death.
Oh, right. He gets so angry that he thinks
At the woman
Padme,
he turned to the dark side to protect not an hour ago.
he murdered children
Yes.
so that his...
Explicitly for the purpose of saving her life.
And the life of his unborn child.
Yeah.
Right? Arguably, that's the key thing.
Child Ren, by the way.
Well,
we should
I
add.
mean, he
We
didn't know
find
that.
out.
He didn't know. Don't jump the gun. You're being a bit of an Obi-Wan on the ship right now. Okay? He likes kids so much. He thinks his kids are going to die, and he's like, I'll kill as many kids as I need to make sure my kids live. Then he thinks, oh, wait, you've been hanging out with Obi-Wan lately? Which is like, these are the things my 17-year-old sister calls me about. Oh,
People hanging out.
my friend sent an email, a mass email to everyone telling them that I suck because I talked to the boy that she likes. Like, that's essentially what Anakin's doing. He
So
gets
bad, man, a
so
teenager.
angry about this
Yeah.
that if he started choking Obi-Wan, we'd be like, that's kind of in line with the way he's been acting for the last
that would
40
make
minutes.
sense.
For him to start choking Padme makes no sense.
Chokes Padme out.
And it's not like he has the moment where he's like, what am I doing?
No. She drops and he's like, it's your fault, Obi-Wan.
Yeah, fuck you.
They have a big lightsaber fight.
And not to keep on harping on this thing, but like the video game analogy I made last week, you know how in a boss level, it's like, okay, here's the health meter of how much health the boss has.
Yeah.
And then when the health meter goes down like a third of the way, then it goes to a short cutscene where
You
like
get a new stage of the boss.
right.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you're still at the same level of health and you have to keep on going down. This is structured like that, where
Yes,
it's
it
like
is.
a third of the fight, and then they're like, okay, now we're on a bridge.
Yeah. They fight in like the meeting room.
Anakin flubbers up to a bridge,
Yeah.
and then Obi-Wan has to chase him, and then the fight now has a different fighting style.
Then they have a bridge fight, and then they kind of fight, just sort of swinging at each other on this kind of telephone pole that's falling into the lava.
Yeah.
Then they fight on these two little like lava cars that are perched on the lava with force
like
fields.
robot coasters.
That's the worst part. And then, and I really just want to talk about this now because it drives me so crazy.
I just want to say one thing quickly.
Okay.
I understand that this fight is serious for the two of them, and that when surrounded by lava, there is an easy, like, sort of checkmate move in taking someone down, which is, like, push you into the lava.
Sure.
But they keep on putting themselves into the most dangerous positions.
do.
Why wouldn't they be like, you know what, let's just go back to that platform we were on at the beginning?
Yeah, that was actually the
That's
safest
solid
part.
ground. We'll fight. It's just about fucking lightsabers.
And the lava will come around. It'll sort of crest around us. Very exciting.
Because right now, I might just slip.
Yeah, seriously.
I might just fall.
Well, they had that moment where they kind of do like opposing force pushes, and they're sort of like,
And
and
if
then
I were
they
them, I'd be
both
like,
go
nope, let's go to a safer space.
Anyway,
It's equivalent of being in a bar and going like, okay, let's take this outside so
Well,
we don't get blood in the bar.
I should watch it again now to see, but maybe it's like each time one of them sort of jumps to the next spot in an effort to get an advantage, you know, and then it doesn't work.
No, it's because
Anyway,
it's a video game.
They're on the lava cars. They're on the lava
coaster.
coasters. Obi-Wan jumps off
Mm-hmm.
onto just the ground, onto the beachhead, basically.
Yeah, but like really like the shore, like right
on it.
The lava waves are cresting.
Yeah, right. He's right
crashing. They're lava
He's
sand dollars.
3
coming
feet
up.
up the coast.
Yeah.
3 feet up on the ground.
Right.
And he says to Anakin, like, it's over. I have the high ground.
Okay, now you want to harp on that.
It's crazy. What is he talking about? This has never been mentioned before. They're magical wizards with swords.
Yeah, anyone can do anything.
Why doesn't Anakin just jump over like a little bit over there and then run at him?
Oh, you mean pull a flubber like he's been doing this whole fucking movie?
He doesn't even need to pull a flubber. He's on a space coaster. He's on a lava coaster. Just drive it left.
Yeah, just go, hey, can we go higher than him?
Yeah.
Actually, that would be funny. It was if he went on the lava coaster and then he was like, I have the higher ground. And Obi-Wan was like, harumph, harumph. I have the higher ground. And it was like just the two of them trying to get higher than each other into space.
Or Anakin like goes down the coast and Obi-Wan's like starts running and be like, no, I still got the high ground, ground.
Yeah.
Anyway, apparently, even though Anakin is the most powerful Jedi imaginable,
he's really bad at jumping.
Obi-Wan has the high ground, and so Anakin's like, my powers are so great, and Obi-Wan's like, don't you do it, Anakin.
Well, do you interpret that as that, or do you interpret it as like...
I think Anakin says something along the lines of like, you don't even know how powerful I am now.
Yeah, because the high ground thing, it's not like those are like the rules of dueling. It's sort of him being like, Anakin, you can't beat me from this standpoint.
Right.
So just fucking give up.
It just makes no sense to me.
No.
I don't understand it.
But
Anakin tries to jump over Obi-Wan. Jump over him.
Which
he
is not
has
the way to
a
do it.
sword.
Not the way to do it.
Obi-Wan literally just kind of goes like, he just kind of swipes the sword overhead, chops off Anakin's legs.
But why just jump in front of him?
Just jump anywhere
Jump
else.
anywhere.
Why over him?
No, right. So he tries to jump on top of his head. And
Obi-Wan swipes his legs
like
off.
a fly swatter.
Yeah.
Cuts him clean off at the knees.
Anakin is left on the ground, and he starts burning up because he's so close to the lava.
Oh, no. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead. My friend refers it to like, I mean, basically it's like a Monty Python.
As the Black Knight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he's only got one limb at this point. He's only
and
got
he's still
the left
crawling
arm.
towards him, and he's like got the look of determination.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna get you.
Right. And Obi-Wan starts yelling like, you
were the chosen one, and you were supposed to bring balance to the Force,
how could
not
you
end
do
it.
this?
How could you do this?
This is the most emotional scene I'd say in any of the three movies.
It's well played by Ewan McGregor.
I think it is a good scene.
It's a good speech.
Yes.
Like he finally has something to sink his teeth into. He's finally allowed to cut loose emotionally, which he doesn't do after served up a platter of dead children.
For this one scene, they trick you into forgetting that they didn't
earn this.
Right. That they didn't do any of the scenes to build to this properly. But the idea that Obi-Wan has invested this much time and energy into this child because he believed that he was going to become something.
Yeah.
Which it felt like was kind of dropped for like a movie and a half.
Right.
That
is what happens at the end of the first movie. That's why Obi-Wan takes him on.
Right. But then like they didn't really talk about the Chosen One shit.
Qui-Gon
for, like,
believed
episode
in
2.
him.
Yeah. And he's like really heartbroken by it.
Yeah. And he's like, look at you now. You're just this sad mess.
I hate that I had to do this.
And Anakin, meanwhile, is like, I hate you.
Yeah.
He's burning up.
Yeah,
his hair goes.
I know. I hate you, too. We hate each other. It's clear. We just fought on lava. We don't like each other
But
anymore.
Anakin won't let it. He's like, I hate you.
And he's crawling. He's like
crawling with one arm.
And now he's like, his skin is like he's
burned.
really pale. And his eyes are glowing even more red. Oh, because for the last 40 minutes, his eyes
start
red
going
for
evil.
no fucking reason.
Yeah, they turn into cat eyes.
Okay. So he's crawling very slowly. He's not making a lot of progress because he's got one robot arm. He's got one human arm.
I think the robot arm might be gone or something. Maybe it's not. It's just not working very well,
He's still got this pump.
Yeah.
It's crispy, whatever, right?
It's crispy.
And then, because the lava waves are like crashing up on the shore, and he's still right on the shore, the waves crash and like a piece of lava falls on his back, and his whole body catches in.
Yeah, he just catches on fire.
It's not just close to it. It's like you see visually defined a blob of lava land on him.
Up he goes, up in smoke.
And now he's on fire, and he's screaming, and he's like still crawling, and Obi-Wan's like, dude, you're on fire.
And apparently this is the scene that earned their PG-13 rating, by the way. It's that whole sequence.
Not the scene where he murders children?
And it's off screen.
We forgot to mention...
Robin Williams murders so many children in Flubber, but it's just off screen, so it gets that G rating.
That's true.
Yeah.
And Jacob the Liar, too. I haven't seen Jacob the Liar. He played Hitler in that, right? No. Terrible joke. No time for bits. No time for bits.
All right,
Dr. Jones.
come on.
There's a scene that we breezed over that should be the most cathartic and exciting film across these three films.
Scene across these three. You said film across these three. Go on. What's the scene?
What should be the most exciting and cathartic scene across these three films is a non-entity.
I don't know what scene you mean.
Anakin killing the Nemoidians.
I know.
Goes in their office, closes the door, they cut away.
I know. You see him cut one of them.
They cut back later.
They cut back to it, right. That's right.
And you mostly see him killing battle droids.
Yeah, but Newt Gunray's still alive. And he's like begging for mercy, basically.
And he sort of like scrapes his chest.
Yeah, he kind of just sort of vaguely slices him down.
In a movie where we saw Dooku's head fall off,
I know.
we're seeing droids get cut in half.
Me.
I want to see.
I really
these are the
agree
guys
with
I
you.
want to see cut up
Because
viscerally.
they're responsible for everything bad in the first movie.
Uh-huh.
In the second movie, he's really creepy and like really wants to see Padme eaten alive. He's really a nasty piece of work in the second movie. In the third movie, it is so delicious that they finally think they've won.
Yeah, they think they got it.
And that Sidious is like, sure. Know that lava planet that I hang out on sometimes? Just chill out in my meeting room there.
Yeah.
I'm going to send my guy, and he just chops into pieces, and we don't get to see it. It's really annoying.
Yeah, I want fucking blood and guts.
Yeah,
And aside from everything you just said about why they suck within the reality of this film, within the reality of our world, they're just fucking the worst, ugly, racist caricatures. And we want to see some course correction.
Some Coruscant
fucking
correction.
slice them up, Coruscant correction.
It's really...
Do you think they sell croissants on Coruscant?
Of course they do.
Okay.
Croissant.
Yeah.
The whole thing's a bummer.
It's
Let's
a
not
bummer.
forget that once he's set on fire, Obi-Wan's also kind of like, all right, I'm going. He doesn't think to like maybe just double check that Anakin's dead.
Well, okay, before we get to the end...
Do you think he's like, he just doesn't have the heart to kill him? Is that maybe what it is?
People don't do fucking due diligence in this
They
movie.
really don't.
They don't think.
They
don't do research.
not.
They don't ask. They don't fucking...
You know what? Maybe it's just that vengeance is not very Jedi. And so he's like, look, I've incapacitated you. So that's that. He gets on the ship. He leaves. Padme delivers her babies. We'll talk about that another time.
I'm not surprised that Obi-Wan doesn't kill Anakin. I'm surprised he doesn't, in this hobbled state, take him, bring him back to be...
Try to rescue him. Try to rehab him.
Or arrest him, or whatever the fuck it is.
It's
you
true.
know?
He just leaves him there.
Just make sure, in some way or another, you're on top of
All right.
it.
Do you have a merchandise spotlight?
Yeah, I have a merchandise
Is it a
spotlight.
burned up Anakin merchandise?
Yeah, it's a burned up Anakin.
I was going to ask if there's a Youngling Massacre merchandise.
They made some of the kids. There's, you know that one scene where Bail Organa, played by the great Jimmy Smits, goes to the...
and there's the kid who sort of valiantly fights off some clone troopers and then dies.
And it's a weird...
And Jimmy Smits is like, no!
Yeah, right. So we've seen all these kids get killed. We think all of them are dead. Then Jimmy Smits gets there. He's trying to get out. The fucking clone troopers are trying to shoot at him. This little boy comes out, protects him, dies in the process. And it's like a weird scene. You're like, why would they put this into the movie? The kid's just doing crazy space karate. That kid is played by George Lucas's son.
Oh, really?
Who is really into karate. And so George wrote the scene to the movie so he could do his
That's very cute.
martial arts in the
Although it's a little weird that George Lucas is like, he will have to die on screen.
yeah. But you die a
But-
martyr?
You die with Smits going, no!
Yeah, no one's happy about the fact that you're dying.
No.
Here's the crispy Anakin action figure.
Oh, this is terrible. He doesn't look crispy. He just kind of looks hairless
yeah,
and covered in mud.
yeah. He looks.
He's got a robot arm.
He looks like the I Am Legend Rubbits. I think the legs are removable.
They're not robots in I Am Legend.
The movie's
They
not about
were.
Rubbits. I gotta rewatch that movie.
Oh,
I thought it was about
boy.
robots.
This is terrible.
Well, okay, so
It
here.
doesn't look like Anakin's face.
No, it doesn't. Here, this is what it looks like.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, who does it look like? It looks like this. I mean, this is what kid wants to play with it? This
A
is
broken toy?
It's a broken toy to remind you of how everything in the world is terrible and everyone you love will hurt you. And then we'll get hurt in the process. This is just a plastic representation of misery.
Wow.
But it comes with a cloak so you can turn him back into the regular Anakin.
Oh,
You put the cloak on top of the
that's
thing.
weird.
Yeah.
Huh. Anyway,
Yeah.
let's just finish up. We're almost. We just got to wrap up the final thing that happens to Anakin because we really have to talk about it.
Because this is kind of...
It's both cool and also sort of just a bit of a flat.
From
no.
a filmmaking perspective, this is maybe the one scene I love.
But what about that? All right. Well. Okay. So
Up until a certain point.
yeah.
Okay.
Anakin gets rescued by Palpatine.
Palpatine just stops by once again.
Yeah,
the
he
jerk
hails
style.
a cab. Yeah,
Jerk
serious.
style.
Yeah.
How do you find me?
I
First
don't
place I looked.
I don't know.
Shows
Well,
up on the
he
shore.
sensed something.
The
He
Force.
sensed something.
The Force. The Force.
Yeah,
it's always
but-
the answer. The Force. I
Okay.
felt it in the Force.
Okay.
He takes Anakin to his, surgery room.
It has a bunch of rabbits.
Some robots put robot stuff all over Anakin. He gets robot legs.
Yeah.
He gets a robot like chest plate.
Okay, now here...
He gets a robot helmet.
Now here's what's interesting, okay? Like, Grievous, when we see him in close-up and he's got the flesh,
he's
the
got
organic
some
material
flesh
around
parts.
the eyes, it comes across like he was perhaps, if not a human, some type of organic being of some sort that over time was turned into a cyborg. And he looks like a robot.
Yeah.
The robot overwhelms, right?
Sure.
They're putting all these robot parts on Anakin.
Mm-hmm. He just looks like a guy.
But then they put a suit over it.
Yeah.
So you don't even know what this fucking thing is.
They put this very retro suit on him.
Yeah.
With like blinking beeps and boops lights on
it's like almost like pleated leather.
It's crazy. It's
you know what I'm
big
saying?
daddy suit.
It's like a big daddy suit, but it's like this big hulking suit.
It's got these like robot overlays on the eyes. It's got like a whole heads-up display.
Well, this is the sequence I like. I think the construction of this is kind of terrifying in a successful way. It's a creepy sequence.
Yeah.
And there's a really good series of shots in a row.
Yeah.
Where we see from Anakin's perspective, we see his burnt face, and they're
Yeah.
lowering the thing on, and we see from his perspective the mask coming down,
The lights
and the like
lighting up.
RoboCop vision in the lenses,
Mhm.
and all of that, and then it comes on, and there's this really cool shot that is just his head sideways
Sure.
across the frame as the helmet comes on, and then you just hear the breathing.
You hear this sort of deep robotic breathing.
Yeah, we gotta describe this breathing.
Which is eerie. It's like a
It's
very
very
eerie.
creepy.
It's cool.
Like, these movies have been doing so much overkill, to get things across, and it's like, oh, there's like silence is powerful. Like, just hearing someone breathe somehow is very unnerving. And it's like, this is a very different type of trick than we know from Georgie Porgy Lucas.
It's crazy.
But it's effective. And this helmet, we gotta say, is a beaut.
It's great. It's shiny.
It's shiny, but it's also, it is both, it has a nose, it has eyes, it has cheekbones, it has a mouth-type feature, but it also looks very inhuman. You can't tell if it's a robot, you can't tell if it's an alien, you can't tell if it's a person. It reminds one of, like, old, like, mask theater principles. We're able to project so much onto it, and it becomes so scary because it is both, like, very expressive and very featureless at the same time. And this helmet comes down.
I don't disagree with any of this.
And the
This is
breathing
great.
starts. The design of this fucking thing, they tilt the table up. You see Darth Vader in full glory, and this guy looks fucking unbelievable.
It's weird
legitimately
because-
scary. The voice is fucking Academy Award nominee James Earl Jones.
Yep.
Is the voice?
The deep tones, the deep sonorous tones of James Earl Jones.
He's an old man.
This
It's kind of
is
raspy. The
CNN.
breathing is trying. He's like trying to calibrate the voice.
Mufasa himself.
I mean, this is kind of great.
One of the best voice actors in history.
Of all time.
And it's weird because, like you're saying, it is kind of Darth Vader in all his glory, but also it's like, this is actually kind of like Darth Vader all fucked up, right? Like, this is sort of like the best they can do to salvage Darth Vader.
That's what I like about it.
No,
actually.
I like it too.
What I like is that it's like this very depressing moment. It's very scary, and then when the helmet comes on and the table tilts up, it's like, oh, he's officially gone.
Yeah,
Like, that's the way the
he's
film's
consumed.
saying to you. Like, if you were looking at crispy Anakin for the rest of the movie, or if he was restored in a Grievous style, where it was still parts of it or whatever, you'd be like, okay, that doesn't look like a little boy Anakin because it was a different fucking actor. And it doesn't look like Hayden Christensen because he's got a lot of makeup on. It's still, like, humanoid. You look at Darth Vader, and it's like, that's just a mystery.
Yeah.
This is totally emotionally removed from what we saw. The evil of the dark side of the Force has corrupted him so thoroughly, there's no semblance of that man left in whatever this thing is.
Yeah.
And now we have James Earl Jones, a master actor,
I know.
delivering dialogue instead of Hayden Christensen. We've traded up. Ooh, boy, this is exciting. Guess what? There's 3 minutes left in the movie.
I know. And he has 2 lines.
Yeah.
And it's basically like, where's Padme? And Palpatine's like, unfortunately, she died. And he's like, but, what?
He falls to his knees and he screams, no.
No, he pulls himself out of the surgery chair.
Yeah.
He forces the whole room. Everything starts shaking and jizzing around. And then he goes,
Yeah, it is jizzing around. You're right. Cum is propelling the objects around the room.
and like Palpatine's just like, whatever. And he's
he
like,
loves it.
yeah, he's happy, I guess, because
Yeah,
he's
he loves
upset.
it.
He likes chaos.
And then he's like, no,
Yeah.
which I remember at the time everyone was really worked up about how bad it is.
Because
It's
he's
very
going to
cheesy.
use that anger.
It's very cheesy.
He's going to use the Darth Vader's anger.
It's like, oh,
as his weapon.
the scene was really kind of perfect up until that point, I would argue.
If not perfect, very, very much better than everything
Effective.
else. Very effective.
And actually...
And also, you're like, I want to see this guy do stuff.
It evokes
Who's this robot guy?
It evokes emotional responses. You know, you're afraid.
It's a suit he's wearing.
You're
it's
sad.
not CGI.
Yeah. Oh, it's very practical.
The helmet too.
The helmet is on the head.
Yeah.
Because
and
last
Hayden
week I
Christensen wore
ranted.
the helmet. Did you
Yeah.
know that Hayden Christensen almost didn't, and then insisted that he wanted to?
But they put him in the suit. They put lifts on it, so
To
he's
his
bigger
credit.
than usually is. Yeah.
He's like, hey, no, like they were just, I guess, gonna put a stunt guy in the suit or something.
Yeah, and he was like,
he's
no,
like, I
fuck it.
need to be in the fucking suit.
Yeah.
So
Because he probably
he's
saw
in
the design, was like, this is the best looking
He's in the
thing in all
fucking
three
suit.
of these movies.
And then it's like, okay, well now, directed by George Lucas.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the other stuff that happens at another point in time. But
So how did we get here? This is the Anakin episode, but we don't know why this happens.
no.
It's like the whole movies are now revealed to be this ultimate tragedy of one man, right? It's like you
Yeah.
have this person like prophesies to change the Force, prophesies like the future of the Jedis, and
Yeah.
it turns out to be their worst nightmare.
Yes.
He brings about their very end, although it's really Palpatine who does most of it. Most
Yeah,
of the work.
and it's also so muddled. It's like, in a way, they're sort of trying to say that, like, by putting the pressure on him of having to restore the balance, that maybe that made him crack, but they don't do the work to make that pay off. Is it just, hey, he was just a kid and evil corrupted him, and evil could corrupt anyone. All of us are corruptible. Are they trying to say that he was destined to fall? Are they trying to say that he just had the bad luck of being in Palpatine's way?
There's a real hint of destiny to it, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's another angle I want to get out in the Palpatine episode to talk about.
But there is kind of a hint of like, even if the Jedi had played their cards right, which they don't,
yeah,
that all of this, and like we talked about in the Phantom Menace, that all of this was kind of coming to an end. That like there's opulence,
it's
there's
rules of the game.
Yeah, exactly, the red tape,
Les rules de jeu.
the règle de jeu. I recently rewatched that
It's
film.
a great film.
Yeah, that's a great film.
It's an anti-Revenge of the Sith.
But it's very similar to Revenge of the Sith, or some parts of Phantom
Yeah.
Menace and Attack of the Clones, and it's about these rich fools kind of ignoring like
What's really happening
society
around
crumbling
them.
around
Yeah,
them.
dealing with petty domestic drama
Exactly.
is focused on while the world around them crumbles. But what you needed 3 movies to do that, to trick us into thinking we were going to watch someone save the world and just
not
watch them die?
Only that he
and the
needed
world is
3
cruel
movies to
and
finally
merciless?
maybe get a good character out of Anakin Skywalker and give him to us for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Maybe there's another Star Wars movie.
there's not another Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
Stop
I know,
talking
it's
like
crazy.
an idiot. But you do. I mean, look, we do know that Disney bought Lucasfilm.
Yeah, maybe it's the Darth Vader story.
I think they primarily want to keep making Indiana Jones movies because that's a successful franchise.
This was a very successful franchise.
Yeah.
This movie made $1 billion at the
I
box
know.
office.
I mean, maybe they'll reboot Star Wars. We can only hope there'll be an episode 4 someday. But, you do have that thing. We've seen a lot of movies in which someone good wrestles with evil before finally finding their way again, right?
Sure.
We've
And we've seen some movies where people, have a tragic turn. Like this one, right?
Yeah, I'd say more often, especially in big budget, mainstream, populist, let's say kid skewing entertainment like this, although this barely qualifies as a kid's movie. I think he thinks he's making a kid's film, but barely, right? More often we have someone who is evil and we learn then of the tragedy of how they got that way, that they were once good. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We rarely have to watch someone become evil. And if we do, it's on the sidelines of a film. It's that character now becomes the villain in relation to our hero.
Sure.
This movie is just fucking watch everything crumble.
Watch everything just fall apart.
Just watch your heart break.
And it might work if it progressed.
If you had any
logically.
emotional investment in it, then maybe it would be so tragic that it would be like Room, that it would be a tough experience, but one worth watching. Instead,
Room has a happy ending.
Yeah, I just feel gross watching this movie. And not just because it's bad, but I just feel, it feels very cynical to me. And it's
I know. It does feel cynical. It feels unearned.
it's very misanthropic.
It's just very anti-Jedi. Maybe he just hates the Jedi.
This was his dream project. He got to make 3 movies exactly the way he wanted to, and this
he
is
made
what
this,
he wanted to say.
Look, he made this epic tragedy. That's what it is.
But the first two parts aren't a tragedy. The first part has Jar Jar Binks in it. That's my problem with the idea of this being an epic tragedy.
You don't think Jar Jar Binks is a tragic character?
I mean, he's tragic in different ways.
I agree with you. There's so much more to discuss because we got to talk about the Palpatine side of this. We got to talk about the Jedi side of this.
Yeah, and we have to talk about. Yeah, there's stuff to talk about. Look, I know this was a bummer episode.
They're all bummers. It's a bummer movie.
Yeah, no, but this was not our funniest episode.
Oh.
But this is not the funniest Phantom Menace movie.
Uh-oh.
Devoid of comedy. And we had to go through the trenches today. We had to dig through the dirt and just talk about this weird fucking turn.
Yep. The main arc of this film, which is tragedy.
It's just everything sucks. Everything's terrible. Everyone's the worst.
Have you seen any good movies recently? I just want to end on it up.
Yeah, Sicario is pretty good. Right?
I need to see Sicario.
I didn't love it, but I thought it was pretty good. I like Denis Villeneuve a lot.
Okay.
It's maybe my least favorite of his films, but I think he's a really strong filmmaker.
All right, well, that's not what I was looking for. Come on.
I'm hopefully.
Did you see Hotel Transylvania 2
I think I'm going to see it tonight. I'm very excited.
That's
I've
cool.
heard that diminishing returns, but also from a lot of people who didn't like the first one as much as I did, and those people are wrong.
Okay.
I got invited to a screening last weekend, but I slept through it.
Yeah.
It was early in the morning, and I don't like mornings. You guys see Hotel Transylvania 2, and those movies are about people who seem to be bad, but are actually good. That's the world I want to live in. People think they're spooky monsters, and they turn out to be nice people who have
Ben,
love in their hearts. Like
right
Ben is a spooky monster.
Yeah,
when I saw him, when I saw Ben for the first time, I went, "Oh,
spooky!
Oh, spooky!"
Yeah, you sang the Monster Mash.
Ben was singing. Okay, let's just admit, the first time I met Ben, he was singing the Monster Mash in a haunted house.
Yeah, it's true.
And he was covered in blood.
This is true.
And I thought you were spooky. And then I came to realize you had the biggest heart of them all.
That's true. That's not true.
Ben has the biggest heart of them all.
All right. Good old Ben. He hated this movie.
That's
How'd you feel about
the
this
movie I
movie, Ben?
It was terrible.
It's the worst, right?
It was such a terrible experience.
Called it.
I really want to defend it.
Yeah, no.
There's no way
defending this one.
The dactyl scene. We'll talk about the dactyls.
Okay. Yeah, we got to talk about General Grievous with his lightsabers.
We'll talk about all this.
Oh.
Okay, Ben, final thoughts. You hate this movie.
Yeah, I hate this movie, and
you're hungover.
I'm hungover, and fuck George Lucas, man.
Yeah, fuck George Lucas.
Final thoughts. Fuck George Lucas.
Yeah, fuck George Lucas.
We'll see you guys next week. We'll be more fun next week.
Next week will be fun. We'll have a great guest. We got this out of the way. We ripped off the Band-Aid as we said we were going to.
Oof.
Fuck George Lucas. And as always, fuck George Lucas.